Jeff Bezos owns some of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
This thing that looks like giant balls in Seattle. A clock that tells time for 10,000 years.
What?
A robot dog that does his laundry. Rocket engines pulled from the bottom of the ocean. And even a super yacht bigger than a pyramid. These are the 10 things Jeff Bezos owns that will make you feel broke.
Oh my god.
First up, in the middle of Seattle, Jeff Bezos built something that looks like 3 giant glass balls. But these aren't just balls. They're worth $4 billion, and they're basically a rainforest in the city. Inside, there are bridges, waterfalls, and over 40,000 plants from every part of the world. Some trees are so tall, they look like they're touching the sky. And the craziest part? Bezos connected the whole thing to Alexa. He can literally walk inside and say, "Alexa, change the lights."
And so if you would join me in directing your attention up above your heads for a moment. Alexa, open the spheres.
Okay, Jeff.
Or, "Alexa, play music," and the whole place responds. Imagine going to work and instead of sitting in a boring office, you're working inside a jungle that listens to your voice. This is Bezos' idea of an office. But here's the thing, this $4 billion jungle doesn't even come close when you compare it to the other insane things he owns. A 10,000-year clock.
What?
Yeah, a clock that's literally designed to keep time for the next 10,000 years.
Oh my god.
Imagine that. It's hidden inside a mountain in Texas, carved deep into the rock, and it ticks once every year. The century hand moves every 100 years, and the cuckoo only pops out once every millennium.
Can you explain what the 10,000-year clock is?
10,000-year clock is a physical clock of monumental scale. It's about 500 feet tall. It's inside a mountain in West Texas.
Yeah.
It ticks once a year. Cuckoo comes out once every 1,000 years. So it just sort of slows everything down.
Who even thinks about time like that? Bezos does. And the wildest part is, this isn't just some fancy watch sitting in a display case. This is a full-blown engineering project costing around $42 million, just so future generations can look at it and say, yep, Jeff Bezos was here. Compare that to a $15 million car, and suddenly the car feels cheap. That's the level of crazy we're talking about. Back in the early days, when Jeff Bezos was already worth billions, you'd expect him to roll around in a Ferrari or a Bugatti, right? Nope. This man was still driving a beat-up 1996 Honda Accord.
Oh.
A billionaire. In a car that looks like something your uncle still drives to church on Sunday.
Oh.
Reporters even laughed when they saw him pull up in it, but Bezos just smiled and said, "It's a perfectly good car."
You yourself are worth somewhere in the vicinity of $9 or $10 billion today. I only say that because I've got a follow-up question.
Okay.
What's with the Honda?
This is a perfectly good car.
Fast forward to today, though, and now he's got machines in his garage that cost more than entire neighborhoods. That's the switch-up money can buy. That's the vibe. This man's garage is a billionaire's playground. He's got a Lamborghini Veneno worth about $5 million. The interior feels like stepping into a fighter jet cockpit. Carbon fiber everywhere, buttons that look straight out of a spaceship, and an engine so loud it shakes the street when you press the gas. Then, there's the Bugatti Veyron Mansory Edition, worth another $3.4 million. Diamond-stitched seats, luxury leather, and a speedometer that goes past 250 miles per hour. Just imagine owning a car where even the key feels like jewelry. And of course, the Ferrari Pininfarina Sergio, a $3 million piece of art on wheels. Only 6 exist in the world, and Bezos has one parked in his collection. Rolls-Royce? Check. Mercedes-Maybach? Check. McLaren? Check. You name it, he has it. But here's the crazy part. Even with all those cars combined, they don't even come close to what might be his boldest flex yet. His super yacht, the Koru. This thing doesn't look like a boat. It looks like a flying fortress on water, with masts taller than skyscrapers and a second yacht that follows behind carrying all his toys. And trust me, this thing isn't just a yacht. It's a moving kingdom. Jeff Bezos dropped around $500 million on this beast, and when you see it, you understand why. It's over 400 feet long, with 3 gigantic masts taller than the Statue of Liberty. From a distance, it almost looks like a futuristic ship that could fly if it wanted to. Inside, you've got luxury suites that feel like 5-star hotels, private dining rooms where Bezos can host billionaires and celebrities, and even a full spa. Imagine sitting in a jacuzzi while cruising across the Mediterranean. That's Bezos' life. But here's the craziest part: a submarine. Yeah, Bezos actually has a private sub built into his $500 million yacht. When he wants to explore under the ocean, he doesn't have to rent equipment or call a research team. He literally hops into his own personal submarine and dives straight into the deep sea. It's like something out of a James Bond movie. Most billionaires brag about owning one yacht. Bezos has a yacht that literally comes with a sidekick. Compared to this, those multi-million-dollar cars in his garage start to feel like toys. The Koru is where Bezos really shows his money. Now, if you think the yacht is crazy, wait until you step into Jeff Bezos' houses. This man's real estate portfolio is worth over $500 million, and each mansion is like its own private world. One of his homes in Washington, D.C. used to be a textile museum. Bezos bought it and transformed it into a mega mansion with 25 bathrooms, ballrooms for hosting politicians, and even secret passages built into the walls. Yeah, straight up billionaire Batman vibes. Then there's his Beverly Hills estate, which he snagged for around $165 million. At the time, the most expensive home in California. It comes with its own golf course, tennis court, and a massive garden where he can literally host outdoor concerts if he wanted. But here's the part that really shows off his style: the Alexa integration. In every one of his homes, he can just say, "Alexa, turn on the lights," or "Alexa, play some jazz," and the entire mansion responds. Curtains open, lights adjust, music starts flowing. Imagine controlling a 25-bathroom mega house with just your voice. That's not the future. That's Bezos right now. And remember, this is the same guy who once said his Honda Accord was
This is a perfectly good car.
Now he's living like Iron Man inside mansions that feel alive. Jeff Bezos owns some of the craziest things in the world, and one of the weirdest has to be a robot dog. Now, this isn't just some toy. This dog can actually work. When Jeff is chilling and needs a beer, all he has to do is put his cup down, and the dog brings it right to him. If he makes a mess after eating, the dog cleans the table. It can even head out and grab snacks for him if he wants. And here's where it gets crazy. This thing isn't just a maid. It can be upgraded to act as a bodyguard. With the right attachment, this dog can literally carry a weapon and protect Bezos like something out of a sci-fi movie. But even with all these features, the robot dog isn't perfect. It still has limits, and that's why Bezos can't only depend on it for protection. And the wild part? This dog cost him around $75,000, and that's actually the cheapest thing he owns. Compared to his multi-million-dollar cars, his yacht, or his mansions, this robot dog is nothing. Since that robot dog ain't perfect, Jeff Bezos had to take his protection to a whole new level. This man literally walks around with 9 bodyguards following him everywhere he goes. Yeah, 9. And these aren't just any guards. This is one of the most expensive private security teams in the world. Why? Well, a few years ago, after a journalist was killed in Saudi Arabia, Bezos accused a Saudi prince of being involved.
What?
That situation got real messy, and suddenly, Bezos became a target. His phone was even hacked, and private details of his life were leaked to the media.
Yes?
So now, Bezos isn't playing around. His office windows are covered with military-grade bulletproof glass, and those 9 guards stay glued to him wherever he moves. And this level of protection comes at a heavy price. Over $1.6 million every single year, just to keep Jeff Bezos safe.
Oh my God.
Now, security might keep Bezos safe, but his money also lets him chase childhood dreams. See, when Jeff was a kid, he was obsessed with space. The Apollo missions to the moon inspired him, and decades later, when he became the richest man alive, he decided to buy a piece of that history for himself. But here's the thing, those rocket engines that carried astronauts to the moon, they didn't stay in space. They fell back down and sank deep into the Pacific Ocean, buried under miles of water. So what did Bezos do? He spent millions hiring a crew, giant ships, and high-tech submarines just to pull those massive engines off the ocean floor. And after bringing them up, it cost even more to restore them. Just one of those engines is valued at around $15 million. But Bezos didn't keep them locked away in his house. He donated them to a museum so the world could see the same engines that once carried America to the moon. That's the kind of crazy thing you can do when you've got billions lying around. Let's go into Bezos's private jets and his insane watch collection. Of course, when you're Jeff Bezos, even getting from point A to point B has to be on another level. Back when he first became a billionaire, he bought himself a Dassault Falcon 900EX, a $13 million jet. But he wasn't satisfied with just a regular jet, so he upgraded it with luxury touches, gold-plated bathrooms, leather seats, and even a king-size bed in the sky. But as his fortune grew, so did his taste. In 2015, Bezos upgraded to the Gulfstream G650ER, one of the most luxurious private jets in the entire world. This thing is basically a flying house. Multiple bedrooms, flat-screen TVs, couches, full bathrooms, you name it, it's inside. And Jeff didn't just buy one. He bought two of them, each worth $75 million. That's $150 million just in jets. And it makes sense because when you're running Amazon, you can't exactly fly economy. But planes aren't his only flex. Bezos also has a watch collection that can compete with any billionaire alive. We're talking Patek Philippe, Rolex, Ulysse Nardin, and some custom-made pieces that go for millions. Some of these watches are so rare, you'll never even see them in a store. And to Bezos, they're not just watches, they're status symbols, proof that he can buy time itself. Because think about it, who else owns a $42 million clock built inside a mountain and still collects watches worth millions on his wrist? Only Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos' watch collection is straight up insane. He doesn't just wear any Rolex you see in a mall, he's rocking some of the rarest timepieces ever made. For example, he owns a Ulysse Nardin Dual Time, a classy luxury piece worth around $15,000. Not even crazy money for him, but still a strong everyday watch. But then he levels it up with a Patek Philippe Nautilus, one of the most iconic watches in the world, costing anywhere from $150,000 to $300,000, depending on the model. And since Bezos isn't exactly bargain shopping, you know his version is on the high end. He's also been spotted with a Rolex Datjust, a timeless piece worth about $12,000 to $15,000, but often customized with diamonds. Because for billionaires, plain stainless steel isn't enough. You gotta add some ice. And the real flex? A Patek Philippe Grand Complication, one of the most advanced watches ever made. Depending on the model, these can go for $1 million or more. We're talking diamond-studded bezels, handcrafted movements, and complications that only a handful of people in the world can even build. To Bezos, these aren't just watches, they're art. But when you combine that with his $42 million mountain clock, it's clear. Jeff Bezos literally owns time itself. He wanted to control the news too. That's why he went out and bought the Washington Post for a jaw-dropping $250 million. One of the most powerful newspapers in the world, now under Jeff Bezos' name. And you already know what that means. From that day forward, Bezos could shape headlines, influence stories, and basically decide how millions of people read the news every single morning. When you're worth over $100 billion, you don't just buy toys, you buy power. Bro, but the single most expensive thing Jeff Bezos ever lost wasn't a yacht, a house, or even a jet. It was his divorce. Back in 2019, Bezos got caught cheating, and since he never signed a prenup, it cost him more than any supercar, any mansion, even more than his yacht combined. His ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, walked away with a settlement of $38 billion. That's right, one of the biggest divorce settlements in history. To put it in perspective, that's more money than the GDP of some countries. And the craziest part? She invested a chunk of that fortune and became one of the richest women in the world overnight, all because she married Jeff at the very start of Amazon. So yeah, Bezos might own robot dogs, submarines, $42 million clocks, and diamond-studded watches. But nothing he's ever bought or built compares to losing $38 billion in one move.